Welcome back to Retirement Coffee Talk with Sharice Rivers at Zinnia Wealth. Online, find us at zinniawealth.com. Pew Research every year does a study on the American workforce. This time around, they found this. In the mid-'80s, when they did this survey, they asked how many of you are over the age of 65 and are working. And at that point, in the mid-'80s, about 11%. Today, that number is 19%. People over the age of 75 are the fastest growing people in the workforce. Now, when I looked at that, I thought that was a little bit disturbing, Sharice, and you're a retirement planner, so you're trying to get people retired so they don't have to work. So what do you think of something like this? Is something right? Is something wrong? What do you see here?
Well, when I hear this, I think of the psychology of it all, because back in the 90s, baby boomers today, they were like 27, 29 years old. So maybe they were 28 years old. And so during this booming 20-year growth period from 1980s to 2000, the Dow Jones grew over 1,000%. So financial conventional wisdom, don't sell, keep buying, hold, even the market goes down. That was the mentality for 20 years. So they're 28 then. Fast forward 20 years later in 2000, now they're 48. They're getting closer to retire in 5 to 10 years. And what happened from 2000 to 2010?
Well, we had two major pullbacks.
That's the tech bubble. It was awful. And then it took them 5 years to get back to even. All the while, they're thinking, okay, we're going to retire now. This is 7, 8 years later, and they're 55. And then the 2008 crashes. That's an 18-month decline where the S&P dropped 51%. And then it took 4 to 5 years to get back to even by 2013 and 2014. So now we're in our 60s, right?
Yeah.
So now they're back to even. They're in their 60s. They know they need to retire, but they're nervous. The psychology and the emotion of it tells them, no, I don't think we're ready. I'm not sure we saved enough. I feel like we have to save more in case we lose more money. And so over time, if you go all the way back to 2009, we haven't had a crash since then. So now the psychology of it all is saying, well, it's coming. Well, it's coming. Do I want to be retired when it's coming? Maybe I need to keep working. So we feel like we have to keep working because of the psychology of it.
Got it.
And it's an emotional decision. So we are seeing more people that are waiting longer and longer to retire. And that is why when we do our radio shows, we talk about let's retire now. How can we retire now? Can you retire now? I do not want people retiring at age 75. That is absurd. There is a way to retire earlier, and this is our specialty, income planning, written income plans. Don't let the stock market dictate your next move, because what if you retired at 75? Let's say you've been retired at 70, but then you only live for a couple more years because COVID pops up, right? You're not living out those golden years, what you saved all these years to do. Just know that here at Zinnia Wealth, all of us here are trained in income planning. And it's not just about portfolios and the best stock to pick. It's about all the risks that could derail your retirement. And those are market risk, those are advisor fees, those are taxes and long-term care. So we're going to assess your portfolio. We're going to see if you've got those covered. If not, we're going to show you some ways to make sure that you have those protections built in. And then we're going to also provide that written income plan that shows you if you can retire now or if you have to wait a year or two. Or it's probably going to say, hey, you could have retired 5 years ago.
We did a story not that long ago that came out of the Wall Street Journal, and it followed a number of people in retirement. And these were people that had saved between $1 and $2 million. And they were afraid to walk away from their paycheck. You talk about the psychology of money, the psychology of walking away from your paycheck, from that employer paycheck that you have leaned on for the last 40 years. It is uncomfortable. And Sharice, you talk about let's do the math. Until you can actually see it in front of you on paper or on a computer screen that says, you know what, you can make more in retirement than you did while you were working, or we're going to replace that paycheck for you and you're going to continue on. The only difference is you're not working anymore, but the money's coming in. That's what everybody wants to see. And I think that's the fear that we see here. You can work in retirement if you want to, but we don't want you to work in retirement because you have to. And isn't that the key here?
That is definitely the key, because eventually you're going to be forced to retire. The employers are like, okay, time to go.
Yep.
And hopefully you have that plan in place. And by 75, it's hard to keep a job at age 75, let alone 70 or let alone 65 if you're like one of the higher paying jobs at the firm, right? So let's plan in case those mishaps happen. Maybe it's a healthcare issue. You can't work anymore. Or maybe your spouse has a healthcare issue and you have to retire. Or maybe they just let you go way earlier than ever intended. So this is why get ahead of the game, plan now, and you might actually find out by coming and seeing us here at Zinnia Wealth that you can retire on the income that you are needing and thriving on for the rest of your life so much earlier.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Coffee Talk podcast. If you have questions or would like to begin the process of building a tailored retirement plan, call Zinnia Wealth at 803-368-3680 or find us online at zinniawealth.com.
Sharice Rivers is an investment advisor representative of Zinnia Wealth Advisory, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Sharice Rivers is licensed in your state, please contact their office. Zinnia Wealth Advisory, LLC is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Any client experiences discussed during this show are unique to that client. They are not meant to imply or suggest you will experience the same results. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Sharice Rivers, NPN Insurance License Number 8718011.